After what seems like an absolute age, my Redmi Note 2 has finally arrived, and this is my full review. Let's get straight into it. So the Redmi Note 2 costs $169.99, that's for a 16GB model with 2GB of RAM. For that, it's actually built extremely well. It is plastic on the back, it's not metal, this isn't unibody design, but it feels strong, solid, and it doesn't attract too many fingerprints. Not on the front anyway, the screen is another matter. It's pretty slim, pretty light, and also fits quite nicely in the palm due to its not too sharp angular edges. Overall, it doesn't try to make too much of a statement, but it looks pretty good. The screen is just brilliant. 1080p, 5.5 inches, it's an enjoyable viewing experience, it's colourful, it's vibrant, I can barely fault it. The only thing I would say is that it's not the brightest display out there, but at the same time it's hardly the dimmest, and it's not really a point of complaint, it's still very, very nice. Now, as well as the much welcomed Android 5.1, the Redmi Note 2 is also running the latest version of MIUI, and I have to say it's starting to grow on me. It's a very, very slick and polished experience. I challenge you to try and make this phone stutter. Having said that though, it's almost at some points a little bit overbearing. Although it's amazing that it's so smooth, sometimes you just feel like it's a little bit overdone and you want it to be a bit more to the point like stock Android. Having said that, the built-in apps are really nice, they've got the current sort of flat look that Android is heading towards, and they're pretty functional. And the actual operating system, it's very easy to get to everything you want. And then it comes to performance, and the Redmi Note 2, I'm happy to say, leapfrogs all the competition. It scores just under 50,000 points on Antutu. And if you consider that last year, the very best devices on the market would be scoring sort of 45,000, 48,000, it's a pretty impressive feat. This thing is just over $150. We've been hearing a lot about the processor inside of this phone. It's the Helio X10, and MediaTek made a huge deal about how this was going to totally change the processor market. And in some ways, they weren't kidding, it's pretty fantastic. But it's not flawless. I was actually quite surprised to find the internet browser not being quite up to scratch. It's not bad, but it's not as fast as the rest of the experience. For some reason, pages just seem to take a little bit longer than usual to load, and this could be due to optimizations yet to come. Not sure, but at the minute, it's not the best. And then we come to the camera, and I have to say I wasn't blown away. The Redmi Note 2 has a 13 megapixel sensor, and when you've got enough light in the shot, you can definitely tell there's plenty of detail. Having said that, this is not a consistent performer. First of all, the shots lack vibrancy, you can tell that colours really aren't too saturated. It also has quite a long shutter time, so you have to keep the phone very still. And when it gets to low lighting conditions, you really lose a lot of that detail, which is really quite unfortunate. But that makes it seem like a terrible camera, which it definitely isn't. It's just not as good as the rest of the phone. The battery life is okay. We have about 3000 mAh of battery, which I would have expected to push quite easily into the second day, but normally after a day of use, I woke up the next day with only about 10 to 15% left, which is okay, but it's not exactly quite living up to its capacity. Storage is another sticking point. If you get the 16GB model, although it does support SD card, you're going to need it. There is so much bloatware on here that after installing 3 apps, my capacity was already full. Anyways, we're going to listen to a sound test. The speaker definitely surpassed my expectations. Bassy, punchy, rich, and clear. So guys, that is the Redmi Note 2. It has a fantastic operating system. It's very up to date. It's got a great speaker, and it's one of the fastest phones you can buy on the market, let alone at this price. Other reviews said they found lag spikes in certain games, but everything I've tested so far, it played perfectly. But I will do an in-depth gaming test soon. Unfortunately though, as with any other phone out there at the minute, there is a but. This thing doesn't have a lot of capacity at all, it's filled with bloatware which you can't remove. The camera doesn't exactly take the best photos, and the battery is little more than average. Having said that, all these things that I kind of say we are disappointed with are just because we had such high expectations for this device. If you actually take a step back, compare it to similarly priced phones, you'll be amazed at what this thing can do. Generally speaking, all round, it's fabulous. Thanks a lot for watching guys, I'm Mrwhosetheboss, and this is Insanely Cool Tech.